But I want to start with the NBA. I want to start with the Lakers. Some pretty interesting stuff there. Not that the Lakers or the NBA is that interesting at this time of year. I always think it's funny about how people cover sports sometimes. It's like I saw on social media, Dalton Knecht's first trip back to Tennessee. Dalton Knecht was at the University of Tennessee for 5 minutes. Right? He was JUCO, then he was Northern Colorado? Then he was Tennessee. He spent one season in Knoxville. Let's take a breath there. But the Grizzlies hammered the Lakers last night. First and third quarter was really the difference. Ja Morant had 20, but so too did Jaren Jackson Jr., so too did Jalen Wells. They got way more production off the bench, including former Lakers Scottie Pippen Jr. and Jay Huff, who, of course, played for the South Bay Lakers. So it's not like the Grizzlies were throwing out, the Boston Celtics of the 80s type of roster, and they housed the LA Lakers. But what made news was post-game, you have JJ Redick being critical of D'Angelo Russell.
Again, just level of compete, attention to detail, some of the things we, I've talked with him about for a couple of weeks, and at times he's been really good with that stuff, and other times, it's just reverting back to certain habits. But, it wasn't like a punishment. It just felt like, for us to have a chance to win this game, that was the route we wanted to take.
Yeah, so he played Gabe Vincent a whole heck of a lot more. I remember Gabe Vincent last year, 2 years ago, started for the Miami Heat. They went to the NBA Finals. Last year was injured most of the year, and Gabe Vincent was particularly good last night. By the way, this is how the press conference ended last night for the Lakers' new head coach.
JJ, you're talking a lot about two or three guys, getting them to put in the effort. You talked a lot about wanting to play hard and LeBron being the guy that played hard in tonight's game. How do you address that with the team? What's your philosophy for approaching that?
I just did.
He did the mic drop there. Here's the issue, okay? And I know that Gabe Vincent really did replace D'Angelo Russell. And I get that you gotta lay down the law in terms of how hard guys play. You got to be willing to sit guys. Lose a game in November to win a game at the end of the year. Understand all that. Nothing wrong with it. I will point out that Bronny James played in the game. He played, I think, the last 4 minutes of the game. Played the last 4 minutes of the game. And here's where it's a little bit at issue. I don't know the inner workings of the Lakers with this group. I'm not as close to this coaching staff as I was previous coaching staffs. But I can tell you that I'm a human being, and I've been on teams, and I've also been a coach's son. And I've had my brothers coached on a team where you had multiple coaches' sons. And I know that Bronny James is not his son, but LeBron James is a kind of de facto assistant coach, or maybe even the co-head coach, and you're playing Bronny James when he clearly isn't an NBA player. Should be in the G League, and he's not. He's going to the G League, and we keep kind of throwing him in there. I get it. They swung and missed on Maxwell Lewis. They swung and missed on Jalen Hood-Schifino. But they're way ahead of Bronny James. And it's one thing to take my minutes and give them to Gabe Vincent, who started on a team that went to the NBA Finals. Whole other thing to give it to Bronny James, who doesn't belong on an NBA team. And it's not just me saying that. I'm telling you how all the NBA players I've talked to and NBA coaches I've talked to view it. That's where you run into trouble. It's not in what JJ's doing. What JJ's doing with D'Angelo Russell, like D'Angelo Russell he's let them down the past couple of years. I had no idea why they re-signed him. But playing Bronny instead of him, now you're contradicting yourself. We're playing to win, do the right things, and you're going to go Bronny James, who's just not an NBA player at this point. It is the Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. Rapid radios are our official communication device of Fox Sports Radio. Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offer national LTE coverage, and no subscription or monthly fees. A great alternative mobile phones for your kids. We use them right here on the show. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off, plus free shipping. Right? That's what happens with so many people in business, where they don't give their son like the vice president job. They give their son some sort of small job or whatever, but they put him in a place where if you read the room, ultimately, that's where they're going to take over, or that's where they'd like to have him take over. And everybody's fine with it. Like, look, I'm fine. I'm still good with the boss. But when he starts giving him some of your responsibilities, now we got an issue. I don't necessarily understand the booing Paul George either. Thought he's a pretty good player. And if we actually knew the Clippers weren't willing to go to the max of a contract where Philadelphia was. Like, it was kind of an easy call. This one I don't get at all. I do understand if you want to say, hey, if you're really loyal to the Clippers, you do whatever it takes to get close to the Clippers and take the deal. Like, that's a real thing. But let's also not act like Clippers have had fans of 50 years. They just haven't. You know, most of these people became fans during Lob City and maybe became bigger fans when they got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. But it's not the Lakers. They've never won anything. It's hard to be a Clipper fan. And then it just appeared all over. If you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at the Clippers who went all in on Kawhi Leonard, who still is not healthy. And I'd also credit Paul George for not saying this much. Am I wrong, Jay Stu? Don't really understand that one.
I don't get the where the Clippers fans are coming from. I'm guessing there was something said along the way or something reported along the way that pissed off Clippers fans. But I will say this: there is a little bit of grace to be had in that answer, right? Just calling fans booing you stupid or calling what they're doing stupid. You'd think Paul George would have a little bit more experience in the game to answer something like that. I mean, how hard would it have been to be like, hey, I understand their disappointment. I'm flattered that they miss me. You know, it's something like that as opposed to that was stupid.
It's stupid. It's one of those, like, I get it. He's probably right, but is that how you had to say it? Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Fair way to look at it. Fair. I do think that fans have the right to boo. I do. You have the right to boo. And you can boo for stupid reasons. You know, it's like when fans don't understand basketball rules or football rules, they boo things like, I don't really know what they're booing. That was a penalty. Understand that one as well. But I continue to believe that I'm with you, Jay Stu. The high road is the right road. Paul didn't do anything wrong as a free agent. Could he have bent over backwards and say it was the greatest time ever in his life? Sure. He obviously has a little bit of bitterness towards the organization because he probably feels like they made a move and they tied their ship to Kawhi and not to him. So, I don't know. I hadn't lost a second of sleep over Paul George leaving the Clippers. Had you guys? Like, I don't. It's like one of those things. It's one of the reasons that the NBA doesn't have the buzz. Maybe it should, but it's the belief that Joel Embiid's not going to be healthy, or the lack of belief in the Philadelphia 76ers, whatever it is. Like, you have Paul George and Paul George and Joel Embiid, and you have a talented team there, but it's not anyone that moves the meter. No one is thinking about the NBA and about the 76ers outside of the 76ers and maybe Philadelphia right now.